All right. Hi, everybody. Missy Bunch here with Death of the Desk. This vlog is for the everyday athlete, and I have Franz Snideman with me. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am so good. I've got coffee in a very big coffee mug.
Oh, what does that say on it?
It says, "Hustle and heart
Oh,
set you
nice.
apart."
I have my Stop Chasing Pain mug here.
That
Here we
is
go.
so good. I didn't even know
Yeah.
he had those.
Either did I. I won it at one of the strength summits a couple years ago. So
That's good. This is Howard Sternum.
okay.
I try to keep him involved in what I'm up to so he can cheerlead.
He looks pretty stationary, but that's
He
okay.
has some cervical issues.
Got some cervical issues.
He's driven across the country twice with us,
Ooh.
so he's done an okay job. You're good.
He's seen better days.
Yeah, he's seen better days. So, Franz, I'm super excited to have you on this kind of video blog series I'm doing. I have a soft spot and passion to contribute to the people that are idle all day. They're either bound to their computers, or they're at an assembly line, or they're a pilot or a truck driver. They don't really have the opportunities that some people do to just go work out all day and be outside on a field. And what I love is contributing to them in a way that's accessible, simple, and easy, and also educating them as to why. So someone like you who has probably worked with a lot of people like this, I just was super excited to get you on here so you could contribute to them. So tell us just a little bit about you, because they're probably going to look you up anyways. Like, what's the Franz gist? Like, where do you work? What's your gym called? All that good stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having me again. So I'm Franz Snideman. I have been a full-time strength and conditioning pro, personal trainer, educator since 1996. So I've been in the field for 21 years. So I've pretty much been an entrepreneur since my mid 20s, and I really, uh, I really got kind of a push into the industry from just being an athlete and knowing that I could never sit at a desk, and that I was too hyper, too ADD. There was no way I was going to sit at a desk. So I didn't know how it was going to unfold, but I knew I wanted to help people move and be athletic. And I saw it as also a way to keep me athletic too. Whereas if I was keeping people healthy and I was moving myself and I was walking the walk, then it would be a kind of a really good platform for me to, uh, you know, do what I do. And I am all about making people athletic. And I have a gym in La Jolla called Revolution Fitness. We've been open since 2004. And my other name for it is the Athletic Dojo, because people that go in there, for a lot of those people, it's the most athletic thing they'll do in their day. They won't do anything as athletic as what I'm going to make them do. So I'm proud of that. I'm very proud that we kind of expand people's horizons and just change the expectations of what they think about is even possible for them. And I think the secret that it is really, it's not even the secret. It's my motivation is just to keep asking questions and to be a nonconformist. Because if the conformity thing to do is to sit in a desk or to not move and to let your body just float downstream and have disease and dysfunction, I just ask the opposite questions. Like, what's the most powerful thing we can do today? Instead of always taking it easy, like, why don't we ramp it up today? Why don't we do something totally crazy and something like that? I just ask different questions, and I believe in nonconformity. Don't do what the masses are doing. If people are sitting down, don't sit. If people aren't sprinting in their 70s and 80s and 90s, start sprinting, right? Everything that the medical establishment is telling you to do the opposite. See what happens.
I love that. So how do you handle that when, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. I had a lot of people working at Google, Twitter, Facebook, all those places where they had to sit, right? But the generation, the era, people are starting to get more involved and bringing yoga and ergonomics in. So when you have someone that comes into your gym, or even just has a conversation with you, how do you explain to someone brand new to movement why it's important when they really don't know? Like, they got a laptop when they were 5 and they just don't get it.
I think it really depends on the person and kind of finding what their pain points are. Often words are not enough. Speaking to somebody is often not enough. They need more of an experience. So as they experience maybe more movement or more fun, playful movement, that in itself will speak much bigger volumes and will have a much bigger impact on them. So I don't think there's a blanket answer to that, because it really depends on the person that's coming in, what their pain points are, how they learn, and obviously we're all a lot more similar than we are different, but the motivation or why somebody would change is, that's the $1 million question. It's like, how do you inspire somebody to change? Because you really can't change them. It has to be an internal job. So I think our job is, we don't really change people. If anything, we just start the conversation to get them to discover what their why is. And I used to almost feel responsible that, like, if they didn't change, like maybe I wasn't a good coach, or maybe I wasn't doing it right. In fact, I think I read a really good Facebook post that you put about it just takes time to make huge changes in life. However, if people make a decision, you can literally change. You can start the process to change, which for most people is just start moving. Right. Once you start moving, it's an upward spiral. Things will get better. But I think for me, I do like to speak a lot, and I'm a very verbal person, but that doesn't always spark the best conversation to how they can change. I have to listen to what is painful for them. What are the real big rocks in their lives that are stumbling blocks? And I think if you can kind of relate to them on their level and somehow find a way to tie movement to improving those pain points, then that's when that's when you start seeing change. Because at the end of the day, knowledge doesn't do much. It's the application of knowledge. So we can talk. How do you inspire people to actually take action? At the end of the day, it's all about action. So that's kind of a long-winded answer, but that's my
No, I
answer.
mean, that's perfect. That's why I like to ask these questions, so that if there's anyone out there that is maybe scared or fearful to walk in a gym or ask a fitness professional to start, they see all these Instagram posts with like 1% body fat, and they might think that's how it has to go down. Like, kill yourself for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. When really, what if you just start with 5 minutes of something, and just see
Totally.
what happens? And like you said, I think that was really beautiful what you said about sparking a discovery for them. They discover what matters to them. And that
Yes.
might be, their incentive. Okay, I see I should probably move because of this laundry list of benefits.
Right. Exactly.
So
Totally.
how many people do you think you've worked with that fit that category of the everyday athlete, the desk jockey, or, I don't know what these terms are anymore, but.
Yeah. I think, I think most people know that they should move, and um, most people know that they should probably move more than they are. But um, as far as the type of clientele that I work with, I, I get I get a lot of semi-motivated people that are probably not maybe indicative of like the average
Mhm.
American that like it just doesn't really want to move. So, but even within the population that I do work with, there are some people that they will not exercise unless they come see me, which is good and bad. It's good for my business, but it's not good for them, because if they're on vacation for a couple of weeks, they don't move. So Um, it really kind of depends on the type of clientele you have, but there I think there comes a point when like you can only do what you can do as a fitness professional. Uh, and the people that like really need to hear your message are probably, unfortunately, the people that are just not going to do anything about it. And that's where I think, yeah, we as fitness professionals need to ask different questions because, yeah, great that we're working with the people that we're working with, but the people that are really suffering, the people that just are just sitting there and blobbing out, like not because they're bad people, just because they're just not moving and the body just slowly decays. Like, how do you reach those people? I am fascinated by the same questions that you have. Like, okay, we're working with these semi-motivated people. They're listening to us. But how do you motivate the person that doesn't do anything? Like the person that really needs the training or really needs the 5 minutes of mobility or stretching or breathing work. I have a heart for that as well. And like, I often think, what are we doing wrong as fitness professionals? How can we reach these people that are that maybe just there's a molecule of truth somewhere in there where they know they need to change, but they're just not doing it. So we're kind of preaching to the choir, right? So it's a lot easier to preach to people that believe in our message. Now, how do you preach it to people that don't believe in it? So I'm getting clients that pretty much believe in the message, or else they wouldn't be coming to see me. Now, some of them have more of a pain point, and they have a little bit further to go than other people. I get other people that come to me and they're already pretty healthy. But so I think it's almost like it's twofold, because you've got one camp that's pretty fit, and then you got the Instagram and social media people where basically just trainers marketing to other trainers, right? It's with the 1% body fat, like you talked about, like that's not attainable for most people. Well, at least it's not a realistic place to start for people. So I can understand people's intimidation, saying, "Oh, well, if that's fitness, then I'm out. There's no way I'm going to go there. That guy's got a six pack. She's doing the splits with her, her leg behind her, her head." So we are in kind of a strange place in fitness because, on one end, the knowledge is getting so amazing and you can access information and the most incredible movements and stretching in like a millisecond. Pull up Google, pull up YouTube. But on the flip side, there's a big percentage of the population and people that are sitting down at companies, just marching down. And as one part of the population gets healthier and more fit and stronger, the other part, they just kind of go in the other direction. So how do we bridge the gap? So education is obviously, you have to educate. We just have to pump education. But then I think I think we have to demystify this, and we have to make it so simple that it's almost like they can't do it. So that's why I like a lot of the work that you're doing, is because even though there's some complexity to it, it looks simple enough, I think, for the average person to get up and just do just like a basic stretch or movement or have one intention. So I think there is incredible power in keeping things very simple. And I always tell people, like, well, what, I'm going to go out of town for this week's, like, what should I do? I said, the best workout's the one you'll actually do. Well, what's the best workout? The one that you'll do. Do something, right? There is no best workout. There's no best posture. What's the best posture? Should I sit like this? Should I sit upright? I'm like, you know what? Move all the time. Don't just be a zombie. Move that way, constantly be moving, constantly.
Oh, I just love it. I'm getting all riled up listening to you because, I had this comment the other day that was like, it was from a fellow fitness professional, and they said, well, I don't do your videos. And I thought, they're not for you.
Yeah. Exactly.
I make them for the person that needs them.
Slap to the face. No.
Right? So it was cracking me up, but it was so good for me to hear because I'm clear, right? So I try to use minimal jargon. I try to not use any big words, right? Like extend your thoracics. I say, you know what? Open your rib cage. or whatever.
Exactly.
Just
Exactly.
common, simple.
Yeah.
Um, but it's really incredible to, like you said, it's a weird place to be. Like, I'm trying to put a dent in this vast, thing that I don't even know if the dent will work. But
Right.
you were talking about someone being intimidated. I'm intimidated
Right.
in the fitness industry. I'm
And
like,
you're a fitness professional.
so what's the average person doing if I'm intimidated?
Yeah.
And I could train that way. I have the resources to get a six pack, but I have no interest in that. I just love movement.
Exactly.
I just want to be capable. If you say, Missy, let's go hiking at 6 a.m., it's a 4-hour hike. I want to be able to say, heck yeah,
Yes.
you know,
Oh
um,
yeah.
babysit a 1-year-old or whatever, reach for things and not have to go, oh, I took something. So, you know, in kind of this, I don't know, tangent we're on, what would your advice be? Like, one or two things that you would tell someone that we consider the everyday athlete, someone who's idle, or what would be that, like, juicy nugget you wish they knew, or a little hack they could do at work, whatever it is?
Um, well, God, I think there's so many ways you could take that. I think for some people it would be as simple as just setting an alarm on their clock,
Mm,
maybe every hour, where they just set an alarm to beep every hour. It's kind of annoying. It's maybe annoying to the people sitting in the desk or the cubicle next, but just to get them to get up and walk around, because the cumulative effect of getting up and interrupting that pattern, it's going to add up. And the cool thing is that all that movement, even if it's just 2 minutes, a minute, 5 minutes, 8 times a day, it goes into one funnel. And that funnel is Joe or Martina or whoever, or you or me. So they get all the benefit of doing it. So the only thing that matters is that they actually get up and move. So because we all have habits that we do every day, you woke up, you probably did a routine, like you just do certain things every morning, like I do, and coffee and water, and I do one stretch, and I do this, and
mhm.
I journal, and so everybody has a routine. A lot of people just don't have that in their routine. They just don't move. So you just start with something that's like, well, you can't change everything at once. We know that, and research shows that if you just do too much, you end up doing nothing, right? A jack of all trades, master of none. Just do one thing. It could be as simple as just I'm going to get you up, and you're just going to walk, pace up and down the office, or you're going to walk around the block every time your alarm goes off. And then when that gets easy, wow, Franz, I've been doing that. You're right. I feel much better. My back feels better. I'm not as stiff in the morning. Okay, you're going to walk up and down the stairs at your work. Every time you want to take the elevator, you're going to take the stairs, and we're going to do that for 2 or 3 weeks. So you just build these little mini habits. Like, I think it's finding a habit that they can actually do, and once they do it, then they build that habit muscle. Then they do it again, and then they do it again. I think that would be probably the best thing they can do. They literally just have to walk around the block. Um, as they get more fit, I'd say add some intensity into it. Add a little bit of intensity, these little spikes. I have a client that had almost a fused ankle, and he was really struggling with movement. And he came in to see me. We started getting his ankle feeling better, a lot of stretching, mobility work. He said, I feel a lot better. I'm able to walk more, able to do like a little walk jog. I told him to start taking the stairs, and he says, it's unbelievable. The power in his legs, his lungs. So there's plenty of opportunity for people to move every day. It's just they don't have the habit. So I would literally just meet them where they're at and say, and just keep them accountable. We're going to work on one thing. We're just going to get you to move a little bit each day. And then you just add on that. You just build on that. So that's not complex. But for many people, that's going to be the gateway to many other changes, right? As you know, if you start with one positive change, and it's easier to do another one. But the first thing I say is, if you can just remember, like what I always tell people is, most people, they look at level 67 or step 152. I'm like, just take the first step. Step one. In order to get to 4, you have to go 1, 2, 3 first. So you can't start at level 75. Well, that guy's sprinting and she's doing yoga. And I'm like, that's step 75. That's the 75th step. Focus on one, just one thing. And maybe it's just walking around the block every day. That's it. Then you can go to step 2, which is taking the stairs or whatever you want to do it. So really,
yeah, I mean,
that's it. I mean, there's no secret.
that.
There's no secret. Start at 1, get to 2. Eventually you go to 3, stay at 3 for a while, go to 4. There's nonsense. There's no good reason to have anxiety or to worry about step 37. And you could say this about anything in life. Business, starting a business, a relationship, starting a family. People are worried about where their kid's going to go to school and what should I vaccinate? You don't even have a kid yet. I'm like, get married first, right? Like, don't get ahead of yourself. It's okay to plan. Take one step at a time. One. Just do one thing. In fact, I'm going to write a book and just call it number 1. Then you go to number 2. Then you go, don't be anxious about the other steps. So that would be my advice. Do the simplest thing you can do. And it may be just getting up and down off the ground 5 times and you're done. That's it. Step 1. We can work on step 2 later. So that would be my advice, to find anything that's doable and do it. That's it.
I love that. There's no secret.
There's no secret.
Just start step 1.
Just start step 1.
I mean, it's so fascinating for me to hear. What I've learned is doing these interviews, we are all effective coaches. So I think this is the 5th one or 4th. I don't know, but no one has said the same thing to the same question. What's your number 1 advice? No one has said the same thing. And I thought it would be very similar and I would have to reword things to make them sound different. And it is so cool. Yeah, a nutritionist said, she's also a bikini competitor, but she said, I just want you to write down when you're actually hungry.
Cool.
That's it. Most people don't even know their own bodies. They look at the clock and think 12 means I should eat. But what if you're not hungry?
Yeah.
You know, all this stuff. And she's like, then if you eat when you're hungry and then you puts off this, then you go to bed earlier, then you have more energy to eat healthier the next day. And she had this whole thing and it changes people's lives. And we're talking and it's like, put an alarm on your phone, walk around the block. And then when you feel like you maybe are bored with that or you're feeling better, now you get to take the stairs. You got to earn the stairs before. Like you said, we don't go, I'm going to set an alarm on my clock for sprinting every hour.
Not going to happen.
No. So it's just really magical. And here's what was super cool you said was the cumulative little micro breaks interrupt a current behavior that will in turn funnel into this one body you get. You know, when you and I have both seen our parents, and I think that our why is very powerful.
Yes.
And we both don't want to see people have to be forced to care about their health. Prevent that.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a choice. I mean, you don't. I'm a big fan of Jack LaLanne, who died in his mid-90s, and he never knew a decade or a year or a month of ill health. He stayed robustly healthy and was doing 1-arm push-ups a week before he died, and then he got pneumonia and died instantly. So what he did is he compressed his death into the last end of his life. So rather than die a slow death over decades, in walkers and then retirement homes, and then you're unlucky enough to stay alive for another 10 years. Most of that is preventable with movement, mindset, and and also being around an environment. If you're fortunate enough to be in an environment where people expect to be healthy and they expect
Mm.
to move, which is why I feel very, very grateful about the clients that we have at my facility, is that as people get older, they get better. They actually are lifting heavier, they're running faster. So it's like they're everything that should happen in normal society is not happening where I am, because you're literally just like suck in like the draft of all these like athletes that are just getting better as they get older, and 74-year-olds are cranking out 14 chin-ups. Like that doesn't normally happen. But if you
You're
put
like,
yourself,
I want to be
yeah,
74.
I'm just like, these people are doing, like, I need to get a freaking trainer. Like, what am I doing? Like, what? It can be done. And I have empirical evidence that shows that mindset, number one, but also when you take somebody who's aging, which we all are, and you put them in an environment where people are doing really well and getting stronger and more mobile and faster, um, that is, that's amazing. That is amazing. And then most people, they don't know that that's even an option. That, oh, like I can actually be better. Like I don't actually have to just wilt into like a ball, or like, you know, turn into Gollum like my dad did. Um, yeah, I love your message, and I'm I'm a fellow nonconformist. It sounds crazy, but like actually, you know,
It's
getting up and
crazy.
moving is being a nonconformist.
Yeah. I trust me. People are like, what is death of the desk? What are you doing? I'm like, listen, I'm trying to create something that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
It's freaking hard.
It is.
I no, I'm not teaching yoga for an hour. No, it's not ergonomics. I love both of those things.
Yeah.
But I'm just teaching you that moving your joints gives them blood flow and nutrients and gives you energy, boosts your mood, increases your productivity. If you just spend 60 seconds to 120 seconds every hour doing something, you
Exactly.
know,
That's a beautiful message. That is a
right?
beautiful message.
It's crazy. It's very simple, but it's the habit. And like you were saying, your environment, if no one's doing that in your corporate office and you've been working there 8 years, it'd be very weird if you stood up and, you know, opened up your ribs and did some rotations. People are like, what is Franz doing? Weird.
Yeah, he's smoking something. He's out of there. He's weird. The guy's kind of creepy. He's moving his neck side to side. He's doing neck
Ooh,
circles, right?
right? That person would live a little longer, but they would look really weird in the
Yeah,
moment.
they look a little weird. Or
But
stretching airports. Yeah.
right? So yeah, I really appreciate, I love when someone in your position who's you preach power and you can translate that message to someone that doesn't even understand what that means and say, hey, you've got a phone, set an alarm every hour and just walk around the block once. It's very, I think, refreshing and relieving for someone in the world to hear that from a fitness professional and not trying to change their diet, their workout routine, how they sleep, you know, learn about supplements. It's like really intimidating. So I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
And is there anything else you want to say to the everyday athlete, the person kind of new to all this stuff?
I would say that you know, be focus on the whole body. That movement is not an isolated incident. When you move or walk or run or walk upstairs or get down on the ground, you're working hundreds of muscles, and the the body is pre-wired to be perfect, to move well. Um, and like everybody has that, it's innate in them. They just need to change their habits. It really, like, everybody can unlock um, a better athletic version of themselves. And when I always tell people, and I hate sounding preachy, like I'm trying to preach people, because I'm usually preaching to myself, but is that everybody's an athlete of their own life, right? Everybody just has their own arena where they operate in, and that's their athletic domain. But we all have a choice every day. You can live as like the little Missy, right? Or you can live as the big Missy, which is empowered, which is proactive, which is living in the present. And I say, just choose this, right? We all have times, me too, where I just live as like this little person. Like, what am I doing? Like, no, like, come on. We all have that bigger Franz or bigger Missy or bigger Bob. Live as a bigger version of you. And every time you take that 60-second break, or you just say, you know what, I'm gonna stand on one leg when I'm brushing my teeth. You just start incorporating really cool little movement snacks or movement breaks. You don't even need a program. You just need habits. You just need to get out. You get a dog. The dogs are great because you'll start walking your dog. You'll get out, and then eventually you may find that you want to do something else. You may find you want to do sprinting. The world opens up when you feel good again, and your joints feel good, and you've got energy. And I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. There's a lot of cool stuff to do in the world, and mountains to hike, and places to visit, sports to play. Live it up. I would say just be the bigger version of yourself, and every time you make a positive choice, you're living in alignment with you. So you're living in integrity with yourself, and ultimately you need to be your own best coach. So we can all do it. I would just empower people that just, hey, I mean, like, just you're 1 millisecond away from a good choice, and from feeling better that day and having just a better life.
Well, you almost made me cry. That was
Oh,
amazing. So I get really emotional when I hear you talk about this stuff. It's so powerful, and we all experience that. Like, even yesterday, I was supposed to be studying for something, and I was like staying super small, but I don't want to. It's hard. When I'm out here trying to make a difference,
exactly.
I can't be small. There's no time.
You have a very large personality, so I don't think you have a small personality. I think you.
But you know what I mean. I was
Yeah.
being small when I'm like, I don't
Sure.
want to study.
You know what? And everybody, we're
Yeah.
all like that. Nobody lives like this all the time. I'm not saying
Right.
you, but
So I relate a lot to it, because we all have to coach ourselves. And I think people have a misunderstanding, think, well, Missy, you're so happy and bubbly. I'm like, do you know I was relentless at becoming this way? Lots of books, lots of coaching, lots of reflecting. Basically, everything that sucks about me, I had to unleash, and
yeah,
then that's what makes me free.
right. And it's an ongoing process, right?
Oh,
It's like I
it's
totally
grueling.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough process. It is.
It's brutal, right?
It's brutal.
But when you know your why, you just keep, macheting through that forest of yourself so that you can make that difference you're trying to make. So I love that you were like, you're a millisecond away from a good decision. This life is just waiting for you. And it just starts with small, simple, stupid, simple habit changes.
Amen.
Right?
Oh God, yeah. Amen to that.
So I love to end every interview with a non-fitness question.
Sure.
Keep people all on their toes. I just have this like random list here. Okay. Let's see. What sound or noise do you just love?
What sound or noise do I love?
Has anyone ever asked you that?
No, nobody's ever asked me that. I think probably this may sound so cliche, but I like the sound of the ocean. And like I like big turbulent waves, which let you know that the world is alive and moving. And then I like the soft little waves, like when you're on the Caribbean at night sleeping and you hear this little poof, like the waves are kind of like just barely slapping and they kind of lull you to sleep. That's the first thing that came to mind. Is I'm not a big ocean guy where I like to go in the ocean, but I like to hear the ocean. I like to be close to it.
Mm.
Yeah, so I would say water. I like to hear water, rivers. Anything with water makes me feel very good. Makes me feel like really alive. Life is flowing. Water. I like to hear water. That's the sounds I like.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. And people they can look up all the benefits of natural sounds, but there's a lot of research to support what you're saying. So it's really, really cool. I'm the same way. I laugh, you live in La Jolla, now it's right there. But I used to put the Calm app with the ocean
See?
on my
Exactly.
headphones. Now I get to just walk to the beach and actually listen to the actual ocean.
Life has changed for you guys. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, thank you for your time and
My pleasure.
just sharing yourself with this community. I really hope it makes a difference for someone, and
Me
then that
too.
makes a difference for multiple people. And maybe just hearing you, maybe you giving them permission to start small, it could change their whole life. I believe that.
Yeah. I do too.
So
I do
thank you
too.
for your time on this lovely day. And
Thank you for having me.
yes, of course. I will definitely be seeing you sometime shortly.
Definitely.
All right. Take care. Okay. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you. Okay.